Hello and welcome to Live Score Presents Cricket News Live. And well, we have been joined by Abhishek Mukherjee and Sandipan Banerjee. Hello to you too. And it's quite the occasion for both of you to join us because the last time we were talking about Team India in the T20 World Cup, the outing didn't go as planned, of course, for a lot of India fans. But it has changed a lot since then. The things have changed a lot. Of course, the talk around the group has changed a lot. But yeah, let's start with your emotions as of now, because we are going to talk about the India-New Zealand game, which is going to take place tomorrow, Sunday, that is, in the T20 World Cup. Now, the context of that, both the teams have lost their first game to Pakistan. And all of a sudden, after last night, the discussions around the second semi-finalist from the group being either of India and New Zealand should have changed, because that was quite the game. And Sandipan Banerjee joining us from Dubai, he saw it up close. So how was that experience, Sandipan? How was the experience of watching the last match?
I mean, the atmosphere was like more electrifying than the India-Pakistan game. I mean, it was just terrific experience. I was fortunate enough to watch that World Cup game also. I mean, covered that World Cup game between Afghanistan and Pakistan in the at Leeds. And I mean,
Yeah.
some experience. You have to watch an Afghanistan Pakistan
Yes.
game live to feel that thing, and that too outside India. I mean, you cannot like probably in a country like UAE or in the UK, you have to watch where you can get both fans. But overall, I think the one interesting bit which I have gathered from that game, that there was not much of due. Afghans, Mohammad Nabi also said in his post match press conference, there was not much of due. And interestingly, Nabi won the toss and decided to bat first. So he was
Yeah.
prepared to
Yeah.
bowl his spinners. Like there are three spinners in his team, 12 overs of spin. Yet he chose
Yeah.
to bat. So basically, he that
Hello.
There seems
I
to be
think I've
some
lost
disturbance
Sandipan.
from your end.
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be
Whose
some
end? My
disturbance
end?
at Sandipan's end. Sandipan's end. So we will urge you, sir, to join again. But Abhishek, we were
Hmm.
discussing about India against New Zealand. That's going to be tomorrow in the Super 12 of this World Cup. And boy, oh boy, Indian fans do remember the last four outings they've had with New Zealand in the ICC events. And yet to beat them in T20 World Cup, two outings, and we've lost. And the Indian fans would remember that India have lost both. The
Pakistan.
2019 semi-final, the most recent, the
Pakistan were
World Test
yet to
Championship
get.
final.
Pakistan are yet to beat India in
Yeah,
World Cups, right? So that streak ended.
yeah,
I can't see why this one can't end.
yeah. But it is going to be exciting in the sense that both of them have lost to the same opposition now,
We
and
can do one thing.
both of them are.
We can use that same Dhoni quote again regarding streaks. It
Yeah,
works both ways,
yeah.
right? If
It
streaks of
does.
India winning can end, then streaks of India losing can also end by the same logic.
Yeah, yeah, and India have ended a couple of streaks in New Zealand's neighbor land this particular year, so they are very much used to that sort of method. But we have Sandipan joining us back, and you were discussing about the game yesterday and how Afghanistan made that brave call to bat first. It also showed a very confident side of things. Even after the match, how Mohammad Nabi was elucidating how he wanted to use Rashid Khan in that particular window, and it worked out well for them. It was 24 needed of the last 12, and yeah, that Carlos Brathwaite like action, which of course was talked about by the three gents who were popular on the social media that night. But let's discuss India. Let's discuss India right now. And Virat Kohli just giving a press conference ahead of the game, discussing quite a few factors. The most important one there in context of the team for the next match, Hardik Pandya is feeling well. That's what he said. Do you think he will be able to bowl the way one can expect him to bowl, to be that sixth bowler in this particular fixture, Sandeep? And what have been your experiences from hearing the reports or watching the videos that you have so far?
He has bowled for probably a couple of days back when India had their last practice session at the ICC Academy. He has bowled for
Yeah.
15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
He has bowled at a full run up with full pace, but
Yeah.
bowling at nets and bowling at the match situation is a completely different,
Yeah.
scenario. And it is very, I mean, after all, he is a human being, right? He can bowl for the sake of bowling in a match, but how effective he will be, that's the big
Yes.
question.
Yes.
I think from that point of view, I am not sure how effective Hardik Pandya will be, even if he bowl like 2 overs or so. But considering the options India have, I think India need to go ahead with
Mm.
with a six proper bowling option. Considering the wet ball and all, you can't control the toss. And I was actually, when got disconnected, I was talking about the dew and how Afghanistan managed to get advantage of the dew rather than fearing about the dew. Is that they said that our bowlers, our spinners are more of a skiddy bowlers. So if there is dew, then the ball will skid more, and it will be batsman will get less time to you know play the ball.
Hmm.
So that
Mm.
is the way they are thinking. So why can't we think like that? Why can't we just fear about the dew? We should. I mean, you toss, you cannot control. So let's prepare for the dew. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like we have been
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have
Please
been
continue.
playing a lot of cricket, and even in whenever we play in North India during this time, there's a lot more dew than what we have here. And India,
Yeah.
like these players are like very much well accustomed to play with the ball, with the wet ball. So I think Afghanistan actually showed the way how they can take advantage of the dew. I mean, if you have skiddy bowler, someone like Varun Chakrabarti and all, actually with the dew he can actually he can be a much tougher option, much more tougher option to face for a batsman, because batsman will get less time to figure him out whether the ball is
Yeah.
how the ball is behaving.
Another thing in the Sri Lanka Australia game,
Yeah.
Mahesh Theekshana, I think he was, and he said that there was no dew. It was just that we couldn't bowl well. And these are also kind of bits you can think that it's not necessarily going to be the fact that dew is going to operate in the second half. But yeah,
even even
interesting thing
even
to look.
during the India Pakistan game, whenever we see dew, we see the groundsman preparing for the dew. They are putting extra
Yeah,
spray, or they are just mopping up the dew during the breaks, but there was nothing as such.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Another thing which he has addressed, Abhishek Da, is the fact that the importance of the sixth bowl, and that's obviously something that would have come up. We knew that it would come up in the presser, and it's obviously a big topic for India here. And we were discussing just before going on air who was the bowler who picked India's last wicket in the T20 World Cup. Do you think he's a suitable option to be India's sixth bowler going ahead in this tournament?
I don't know. I I mean, seriously, it's very difficult to consider Kohli as a serious bowling option. But again, I don't mind as long as he takes wickets or
Well, he
I
had
mean,
puts
some
runs in
serious
control.
stats in the last
I
warm
mean,
up game he
if he
bowled.
can send down 2 overs for 15 runs, I mean, who is going to complain? How does it matter what his action is like? Whether he looks like a remodeled Chris Harris? I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've always thought Kohli mimics the bowling action of Chris Harris. That is the only, that was the first thing I thought when I first saw Kohli bowl. Anyway, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. His bowling action is unusual, but as long
Yeah.
as he can send down 2 overs without harming the team's cause, doesn't matter.
As
I
long he
think
can be.
if you heard him in this today's press conference, he is actually considering himself as an option. That's what he said in the press
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
it will
still
be an
remember
interesting.
that. The
You
days
know,
when
Actually, in the
Virat
practice
Kohli.
game against Australia,
Yeah.
in one of the warm up games against Australia, he bowled quite well. He bowled 2 overs for 12 runs. He was
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and he was more economical than Ravindra Jadeja and Varun Chakravarti, which is what we have mentioned before. So yes,
and
India
there's
do
this
believe.
funny thing. There's this funny thing. Indian cricketers, I have seen this for a long time. Where the moment they become captains, they almost stop bowling. I've seen that with. I'm telling you, I've seen that with Azharuddin. I've seen that with
Okay.
Tendulkar. He just reduced bowling. Ganguly also, he bowled a lot when he was not captain. His bowling reduced. Even Dravid was used as a bowler by Ganguly even at the death. But then the moment Dravid became captain, he stopped bowling. We've seen
Yeah.
that with Kohli. I mean,
So
I don't
perhaps
know
it
why.
would be.
Yeah,
But on a serious note, I think I seriously believe that India need a six bowling option here, because
this is something. This is something I've been telling since for at least 5 years. The Indian batters don't bowl well, and Indian bowlers don't bat well.
I mean,
Solve
Surya Kumar
solve.
Yadav
You have
has
to.
been seen bowling a lot at the nets, but I have like I come across with a news report that his action is probably questionable and he hasn't modified his action. So
No, no,
whether
no.
he is
He is
eligible to
actually
bowl or not,
he was reported for action and he has not cleared it.
okay, so he is not eligible
And
to bowl.
I remember I don't think so. A couple of years ago, I remember in the nets there was suddenly a huge social media. It became viral on social media that Prithvi Shaw can bowl. It became news. I mean, that is where it is. We are so desperate for bowlers who can bat and batters who
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
bowl.
Even
Both are
even
there.
even Shreyas Iyer has been bowling a lot at the nets
Yeah.
these days. I mean, whatever practice session I have seen of the Indian team.
We keep
Yeah.
referring to Rohit Sharma's IPL hat trick, but Rohit Sharma has not bowled seriously for 5 years now. He had a
Yeah.
shoulder injury and he has bowled a couple of overs here and there, but that's not serious bowling. You can't consider him as a bowling option in a World T20 World Cup match against New Zealand. It
Yeah.
is not it's not a flat wicket where you're bowling the last over before tea. It's not that kind of a
Yeah.
scenario. It is
Yeah.
one
But
out of
if
20 overs in an
but
innings.
if Hardik doesn't bowl, I think India should go ahead with someone like Ishan Kishan. I have my reasons for that, because they are using not the central turf, they are using the side wickets. So invariably, one side of the boundary will be the short or shorter side. And if you have and New Zealand two spinners are Ish Shodhi and Mitchell Santner. So you can if you have
Right. Makes sense.
two left handers in the middle order, you can utilize them better. So
Hmm.
I believe
Yeah.
that if Hardik is not bowling, that India should definitely go ahead with Ishan Kishan.
Fair
That's
enough.
a
And
brilliant
Ishan
point.
also looks
Yeah.
in outstanding form over
But
the
Yeah.
towards the
I
end of
don't
the
know. This
IPL
Indian
and in
team
the Ashes
believes
match.
I don't know. This Indian team believes Ishan cannot bat either at number four. He can only bat at number four or opening the innings. I don't know why. Why can't he bat at number three? Send him with number three to utilize the power play.
It's actually meaning that he bats more. He gets more deliveries to bat than he does at number four.
I
But
think
on that,
the people who can hit boundaries without wasting balls should be the ones batting in the power play. The
Yeah.
people who can go over the top without having to get their eyes in should be the
yeah,
ones batting in the power play.
And so far the games I have attended at Dubai, all the teams have have targeted the shorter side of the boundary. So they have made
yeah.
Yeah.
plans specifically for that. So I think India is about time that India should also be more little more flexible.
Yeah. Yeah, the star of last night's game, Asif Ali, said the same. He was targeting that shorter boundary, and
Yeah.
that's precisely the reason why teams are doing well. But also, an important factor, which the captain mentioned in the press conference, was Shardul Thakur. Said he's always in the scheme of things. He's the kind of player you want to be. You want to keep in the scheme of things. But in this match, if you would want to bring Shardul Thakur in, who would you bring him in for?
He will want to play. You've got it wrong. He decides.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, if thy Lord, would want to play, then in whose place will he feature in this match?
I think
Bhubi.
more than anything, Bhuvaneshwar. I won't. I think he looked. He sort of didn't have that sting at all. I mean, I don't know whether he was tired, whether he was. Uh, I mean, he it was not his day simply. Now, whether
Yeah,
he, but a week has passed since then, almost a
yeah,
week. So whether he has found his rhythm back is something. I mean, only the cricketer. I mean, the management has been observing in the nets. But if he has not improved significantly, I think Shardul will play instead of Bhuvi. As I said, provided
Yeah.
he has not improved significantly.
Bhuvi actually is having this rough patch since the IPL also. So he has been, but he bowled well in that warm-up game against Australia. He was specifically used in the depth. I think he bowled 27 runs, like he gave away 27 runs in his 4 overs in that warm-up game. He did not take any
Yeah.
wicket, but he looked in good rhythm. That's why probably Indian team picked him ahead of Shardul for that Pakistan game. But now I don't know. I have to today. India will be doing the nets, so I can get a better idea after watching today's
Yeah.
nets.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, will be something to watch. In terms of the spin bowling options, Varun Chakravarti, Ravindra Jadeja featured in the last game. Do you happen to see any changes in that direction as well?
I can't see. I think they did okay. I mean, we would have probably everyone expected wickets from them, but yeah, I mean they did. They, I mean, you can always say they could have done a lot better, but they were probably the least disappointing of the. I mean, they were not among the most disappointing bowlers. That is what I can say.
And you could see after every alternate ball, them using the towels. There was so much of dew out there that
And you
it
see,
probably
Jadeja
didn't play
has
out
to
in their
play.
favor.
You can't leave out Jadeja for the other spinners
Yeah.
because even if they bowl slightly better than Jadeja, the batting and bowling will be significantly different for Jadeja.
Interestingly,
So essentially,
after that game, I have attended quite a few matches in Dubai, and none of the fielding captains seems to be using that towel in the second half. So I don't know. Maybe India were a bit
I think
unlucky on
only
that day. That
Mohammad Nabi. Yeah, only Mohammad Nabi had the towel yesterday.
Yeah, but
None of
he
the other
always
ballers did.
does.
Yeah.
None of the Afghan other players. If you look at the Sri Lanka team match, also none of the Sri Lankan bowler. I mean, I haven't seen. Maybe I have missed, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah. 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 Interesting point. Interesting point. But even with Ravindra Jadeja, as Abhishek Das said,
Oh, another
there's also the
important
point of
fact. Another
batting and fielding.
important fact I would like to add. Another important
Yeah.
information that probably tomorrow's game will be played on the same turf which will be used tonight. So they
Okay.
are using this pattern. So basically, last night's game was that you played on that Australia Sri Lanka turf. So
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
that to protect the wicket center turf more. So probably it will be an used pitch tomorrow.
center
So
turf will feature what the final and one of the
semi-final,
semi-finals.
semi-final, yeah, semi-final.
They did the
So
same in the. They did the same in the India Pakistan game a day after the England West Indies fixture was played in
yeah,
the
yeah,
same turf.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, any chance, like maybe they can think about playing Ashwin also here, dropping one of their
Yeah.
pacers.
Yeah.
Especially if you
Yeah.
are playing against New Zealand, it's a non-subcontinental team.
So essentially, tonight's match is what? Wait, this
England,
is Sri
Australia.
Lanka, South Africa, England, Australia. So
Yeah.
once, yeah.
We'll have two teams by the end of tonight with 3 wins each in 3 games,
Yeah.
and most probably the first ranked teams in both the groups. The two that we are talking
Yeah,
about
and
in
Pakistan and
Group
England have
One and
also
Group Two.
looked the best teams. No doubt about that. Unless
So
some upset happens, they are likely to
yeah,
play the final.
No, basically, what will happen if like the team which will lose tonight, England, Australia, they will play Pakistan in the semi-finals. This is
Yes,
highly likely.
unless Pakistan also loses to
No,
one of the one of Scotland and Namibia.
Scotland or Namibia. That'll be something. That'll be something. Yeah, but we thought of Group One as this
The,
highly
the my
competitive
my
group.
my favorite batch of Namibian left arm fast bowlers.
That first over. Even the Scotland captain on the right night, Richie Barrington, said that when you have a first over like that, it's hard to recover. That was indeed true. You can't disagree with him on that. But
Oh,
yes, let's
Trumpleman will
come
do it
back.
again. Yeah, yeah. He's a
let's
very good
let's do
bowler.
it. You had an interesting stat on names and ending bowling names ending with the Trump, was it
Hmm.
Trump,
Trump.
and picking most wickets. So, can you tell our
Yeah.
listeners and audience
So
the same
essentially,
again?
only two cricketers with surnames Trumpe have played international cricket. One is Trumpelman, and the other
Okay,
is Victor Trumper.
okay.
So Trumpelman is there. I mean, he has most wickets, and Trumpelman also has the best T20 bowling figures among. I think he had 3 for 17 among cricketers whose names start with RUBE. So he's Ruben Trumpelman. He has 3 for 17. That is better than Rubel Hossain's 3 for 31.
Well, I don't know about the RUBEN, but I do know about a certain TRUMP in United States who would want to know that stat.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's come back to India, New Zealand. Talking about New Zealand now, their first game. Well, had it not been for Asif Ali and his, of course, his show in that fixture as well, you can argue New Zealand gave Pakistan a lot more trouble in that fixture. Not more than Afghanistan did last night, but they did. And there were a few positives for them there, but even then, they won't be going all confident into these fixtures. What were the shortcomings, according to you two gents, as far as New Zealand were concerned in their first outing in Sharjah against Pakistan?
Not anything I can point my finger at. I mean, I think I'm not very convinced about Saudi, but now with Ferguson out, I guess they don't have a choice.
They
But they
went
have
with
they
Saudi
have
in the death.
So,
but they
hmm,
have Milne.
hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, for they will miss Ferguson, that's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The kind of form he was
Because
in, we were talking
because
about him. Yeah,
not many genuine fast bowlers have done well in the UAE, and Ferguson is someone who has done well in the UAE.
So
So
and
basically,
yeah,
then
what
I mean,
I
he has a
believe,
big long.
New Zealand's
He has done
best
better than
chance,
Bolt. I
New Zealand's best chance against India is their new ball. I mean, they have to make the new ball count. Like what Trent Bolt has said in today's press
Yeah,
conference,
yeah.
that he wants to do what Shaheen Shah Afridi did against India. So basically, and we have seen that in that World Cup semi-final.
yeah, yeah.
Different conditions,
Sandipanda,
but
why would you
there's
remind us
no doubt.
that right
There's
now?
no doubt that Bolt
But
is.
that's their plan, right? That's their game plan. Took
Yeah,
couple of wickets with the new ball,
Yeah.
make India three down within the power play, and India will like finish with 150, 160, and then chase that down.
We've
That's their
heard,
ideal game plan. So India need to counter that. Maybe
we've
maybe
heard
play
this.
ball, maybe play Bolt out like maybe like 2 overs for 10. That's fine. Don't give him a wicket.
Yeah, yeah. And we've heard this
or
quote from,
make some unorthodox changes in the batting order.
Send Ishan Kishan to open the innings.
well,
And
Abhishek Da for one
someone to
has
open
been
the
saying
innings.
this. Abhishek Da for one has been saying this for quite some time, and right reasons for the same. But you've heard this from the Pakistan batting expert in the management as of now, Matthew Hayden, that the team that wins in the power play wins the game. And we saw that on that night, India Pakistan fixture. And I think, yes, it's going to be a big challenge for India in terms of facing that attack.
The
But
team,
even,
the team that scores more in the first 10 overs almost invariably wins the match. The teams that make up in the last 10 overs rarely win. There are instances, but they are very
yeah,
few.
yeah.
The
But also, it's
domination.
Afghanistan
important.
last night, Afghanistan showed a like nice template of batting. They lost wicket. They were like
Yes, yes, yes,
49 for 4 in the power play, but they were going for
Yeah,
runs. I
yes,
mean,
yes.
yeah.
they were 6 down for 80 odd runs, yet they scored close to 150. So
And
you
other
have
Yeah.
to
teams have
always.
also done that. Yes, yes. You cannot stop scoring. You cannot
But
spend time
on the other
consolidating.
day, I mean, on the other night, India, after losing the two early wickets, they're like 60. They made only 60 in the first 10 overs. That too, they I
Yes.
think scored 20 odd in the last 2 overs of the first 10 overs. So I
Yeah.
think India need to into. I mean, they cannot
I've been
approach
saying this for
T20
some
cricket like
time.
ODIs. They
Yeah,
cannot approach
you
T20 cricket like ODIs.
cannot in T20 cricket you do not consolidate and then hit.
Yeah.
That concept used to exist in the 2015, around 2015-16, when, I mean, at that point, T20 was different. But with more and more leagues coming up,
Yeah.
cricketers do not rotate, strike, and consolidate anymore around the world. They start hitting. And
Yeah.
the most valued cricketers are the ones who you can hit without getting set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
Like Jason
huge
Roy,
plus.
on the other day against Bangladesh, Jason Roy. I mean, they lost Butler early. They were like but Jason Roy at the other end, he was just going for runs. He scored
And yesterday,
30.
even then, there was no pressure. But yesterday, Puran didn't waste time.
Yeah, yeah,
Puran, I mean, there was, and had Puran wasted time, had Puran started slowly, had Puran wanted to see him off, West Indies might have lost the match.
Yeah.
And Bangladesh lost, I believe, because nobody did what Puran did.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, it's important to have that sort of an approach in T20, and that's what Afghanistan showed us last night. But coming back to tomorrow's game, yes, there is another interesting quote that Virat Kohli had to say in the press conference, which was that toss will continue to be a big factor. That's just the nature of the tournament. It depends on how you look at it. Our only focus is on how we are placed mentally and how we approach this game. But
Honestly,
yeah,
if
India
As
it's
long
haven't
such
had.
a
as
such
long
a
as let's
big win,
just yeah, as long as you believe that toss is going to be a big factor, it will be a big factor. But you have to, you have to think otherwise. You can't depend yourself on the toss. I mean, I have seen this mentality in the Indian team that whenever they lose the toss, they think, oh my god, not again. But they should not approach a game like that, especially if it's like a
Yeah.
knockout
and
game against New Zealand.
even if you win the toss, it doesn't mean that you'll take the right decision. For example,
Yeah, of
we
course, of
saw,
course.
we remember two major matches: Azharuddin in the Eden Garden semi-final of '96, Ganguly in the Johannesburg final of 2003.
Yeah.
Champions Trophy
Both
final
Champions Trophy
2017.
final 2017 Kohli. So at least three instances of India winning the toss, doing what turned. I mean, they accepted in hindsight that they took the wrong decision. So winning the toss doesn't mean anything. And of course, there is the template of sending someone else to toss the coin. That is legal, by the way. You can send someone else. 2 years ago, when Faf was losing every toss, he took, I think, Temba Bavuma to toss just for the
And the
toss.
rest is history. And the rest is history. Let's just end that story there. But yeah, wonderful, wonderful opportunity there. But will it happen? Who will you send if you are the captain of the Indian team for once? Let's just imagine who will you send for toss?
I don't know.
MS Dhoni.
How do I know who tosses best?
Can they send a mentor? Can they
I don't.
send a
I don't.
mentor?
I think it
I
has to be someone
yeah.
from the playing 11. I have seen another instance that was Navroz Mangal's last match, the Desert
Mhm.
T20 final. I think so. Who I have forgotten. It was Asghar Afghan was the Afghanistan captain, but to
Yeah.
pay a tribute, he sent Mangal to toss
Wow.
and exchange the team sheets. So that was as a
Yeah.
tribute. But Faf
No,
was
that
clearly,
that
remember,
happened against in Dubai only, na? When Rohit
yeah,
Sharma
yeah, in
asked
the way,
Dhoni
in
to
the way.
lead the team. Yeah.
No. That was different because
That was a
Kohli
different
and
game.
Dhoni
Yeah.
did not. Kohli didn't tour, and Dhoni and
Yeah.
Rohit did not play in the match.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Dhoni
A
did.
lot
Correct.
of players in that
But I am
particular
saying,
fixture weren't
But
I am
featured.
saying,
Dhoni was not the official vice captain of that team. I think someone
there
else
was
was.
no. Yeah. That is something else. This is, you are playing. I mean, Kohli can play and
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
someone else to toss. That is legal.
Yeah.
The laws allow that. 2 years ago, Faf du Plessis actually did that.
Mm.
He
Yeah.
took Temba Bavuma with him to the center at the toss. The
Yeah.
deal was that Kohli will flip the coin and Bavuma will call instead of Faf.
I mean Faf. I mean Faf.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And who won the toss, by the way?
Again, South Africa lost.
Oh.
So,
So it clearly didn't work. We don't have a nice sample size there, but
yes.
let's just talk about
Yeah,
one of these things on the.
if the toss is bothering so much, they can easily ask someone else. It's a
You could
done thing.
try. I mean, you could try,
At,
but yeah,
at least ये दिमाग से निकल जाएगा. Toss.
yeah. Yeah. At least the people will stop talking,
Yeah.
which is something we need to talk about right now. Captain Virat Kohli in the press conference, of course, addressing the important matter of the religious abuses that were directed towards Mohammad Shami post the India-Pakistan game, and this is what he said in the press conference: "Attacking someone based on the religion is the most pathetic thing one can do. I have never discriminated based on religion. Such people are just frustrated. If people don't see passion for the game in Muhammad Shami, I do not want to waste my time on it." And well, it was important, as we discussed in the podcast this week, Abhishek, that it's important to that these things, these addressals come from the team, from the
Yes.
management, and
And
for
if the
this to come
captain
from the
says,
captain. Yeah,
if the captain says, one can assume that he's speaking for the entire team and the team management.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
an official statement, and this is as firm,
yeah,
as strong a statement that was possible and that was needed.
yeah,
I'm very happy
yeah,
that he said this.
yeah. You were
A
there in the
lot
press
has been
conference,
said about.
Adipanda. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
there. I
yeah,
was there. It's a very strong statement to come out from the captain. I mean, he could have avoided it, but he
Yes.
chose to speak more on it. So yeah, I mean, it's a strong statement. But let's hope that all the controversies we have now kept it behind, and now we have to focus
yeah.
on this New Zealand game, because remember, if India lose this game, I mean, invariably our World Cup is over. I mean,
So
Yeah,
essentially, now we have a fourth team in the mix.
yeah,
yeah,
Afghanistan were always there. Somehow, after last night's match, people, I mean the fan base are taking them more seriously. I
yeah,
won't say more seriously, but as seriously as they should have from day one. They're a
Afghanistan is a very
fantastic
good
side.
T20 side.
Yes,
Afghanistan is a very good T20 side.
uh,
yeah,
they have at least 9 batters who can hit, who can properly slog, including Rashid Khan, and they
yeah. Look
have
at where he
a
bats in
very
the batting
strong
order.
bowling unit. Yes,
Yeah,
Rashid Khan bats at 7 or something for Sunrisers Hyderabad. He
yeah,
doesn't get to bat even when there is a collapse in his national side.
Yeah.
yeah. Afghanistan are pretty strong. Look at the net run rate as of this moment. That's going to come
Yeah,
in
I
pretty
mean that's
handy in
that
terms of.
that's actually the big concern. I mean, for if you take it from India's point of view, like even if India managed to win against New Zealand, but if
Yeah.
some Afghanistan beat New Zealand, and then
Now,
the two, not the minnows, it's not the right word. I mean, the two
Yeah,
lesser strong teams, strong, I guess, Scotland and Namibia, then India versus Afghanistan games gets
yes.
very tricky
And
actually.
the
And Abu
last
Dhabi, it
and
will
the
be in Abu Dhabi.
best bit is India gets best bit for India is India get to play Scotland and Namibia later, so
Yeah,
they can target that net run rate. That is
yeah.
good and bad, because from what I have seen, Namibia are very unlikely to qualify for the semi-finals,
Mm.
but they can cause an upset. And in this group, if they cause an
yeah,
upset, if they beat one of they have their 4 matches left, right? Afghanistan,
Mm.
yeah,
Pakistan, New Zealand, and India. If they beat one of India, New Zealand, and Afghanistan, that will be enough to make all calculations go wrong.
yeah,
But
All
I
they
think
need
it
to
will
do
be a
that
tough.
India
It
to
will be
run out.
tough for them to beat at least maybe
Yes.
India, or maybe
It will
maybe they
be
can.
it will be very tough. It will be an upset, but in this level, in this tournament, upsets happen. All
But
it
yeah,
needs is
well,
all is
I
need
have seen at this same venue. I have seen Hong Kong almost beating India in an Asia
yeah.
Cup game. In that too in an
All it
ODI. I mean,
all it takes is 10 minutes, 3 wickets,
yeah.
and everything changes.
Or 1/3 wickets for that matter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yep. It's an exciting group, and for all the people who were talking about India or New Zealand, the game winner in India New Zealand fixture being the second semi-finalist. Hang on, just hang on. Don't make that stupid mistake as of now. There are a lot of teams who have the potential to destroy party for other teams and make their own party here. So yes, before we sign off on this live, let's talk about match predictions. Two predictions here. One, of course, who's gonna win, and second, who's going to be the player of the match in the India New Zealand fixture tomorrow? Sandipan, why don't you go first?
I'm backing India because they will be much more, eager to put a performance, especially after after what happened on last Sunday.
Mhm.
My man of the match, I think it will be KL Rahul. KL Rahul has been in good form leading up to this tournament. He has done well in the warm-up matches as well. So, if he can survive that opening spell against Trent Bolt, I think he's the man
Yeah.
for me.
Abhishek?
India and Bumrah.
India and
Not giving
Mumbai.
up on
Nice
Bumrah
decision.
yet.
Well, neither do we, and neither did the Indian captain in the press conference. But that's just it from us in Cricket News Live this time around. We'll be on the other side of the India New Zealand match waiting for you with our review game talks. But that's it from us today. Thank you, gents, for joining us. Thank you to all our audience for joining us. For everything about cricket, stay tuned to Cricket News.